John Calvin on Psalm 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God, Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Selah. O Lord, how many are my foes? How bitter David's sorrow was under the conspiracy of his own household against him, which arose from the treachery of his own son. It is easy for each one of us to conjecture from the feelings of nature. And when, in addition to this, he knew that this disaster was brought upon him by God for his own fault in having defiled another man's wife and for shedding innocent blood, he might have sunk into despair and been overwhelmed with anguish if he had not been encouraged by the promise of God and thus hoped for life even in death. From his making no allusion here to his sins, we are led to infer that only one part of his prayers is compromised in this psalm. Since God punished him expressly on account of his adultery and his wicked treachery towards Uriah, there can be no doubt that he was at first distressed with grievous and dreadful torments of mind, but after he had humbled himself before God, he took courage, and being well assured of having obtained forgiveness, he was fully persuaded that God was on his side, and knew that he would always preside over his kingdom and show himself its protector. If at any time God makes use of wicked and mischievous men as scourges to chastise us, it becomes us first diligently to consider the cause, namely, that we suffer nothing which we have not deserved, in order that this reflection may lead us to repentance. But if our enemies, in persecuting us, rather fight against God than against us, let the consideration of their doing so be immediately followed by the confident persuasion of our safety under the protection of Him whose grace, which He has promised to us, they despise and trample under foot. As the power of God is infinite, so it shall be invincible against all assaults, outrages, preparations, and forces of the whole world. And indeed, unless we ascribe this honor to God, our courage shall always be failing us. From the Lord comes deliverance. Salvation or deliverance is only in the hands of God. The church shall always be delivered from the calamities which befall her, because God, who is able to save her, will never withdraw His grace and blessing from her.